Welcome to today's deep dive. We've got a pretty wild stack of sources today. We're looking at a dense 2026 manifesto and some related papers about a framework called NKE.
Yeah, by Art Michael Meyer. And NK actually stands for Nothing Crust Something in German, which, kind of hints at the ambition here.
Right. The mission of this dive is to explore this proposed theory of everything that literally explains how reality emerges from absolute nothing.
It's a huge claim.
It really is. And what grabbed me right away is Meyer's argument that mainstream physics, like string theory, for example, just gives us mathematical maps, like beautiful mathematical sculptures.
Exactly. And NKE is claiming to be the actual asphalt road, the real thing.
Right. But to understand why science has just been, staring at maps, we kind of have to look back 100 years.
Yeah, physicists basically gave up on finding a true theory of everything, not because they didn't want to, but because the math itself hit a hard wall.
Wait, hit a wall how? Because I always thought math was the ultimate infallible language of physics.
Well, it was until Kurt Gödel came along with his incompleteness theorem. He essentially proved that in any sufficiently complex math system, there are true statements you just can't prove using those internal rules alone.
Oh, wow. So you can't prove the system from the inside.
Exactly. If a theory of everything has to explain literally everything, there's no outside vantage point to mathematically prove it from. So science just retreated to, well, local, provable math.
Like looking for your keys only under the street lamp because the light is good.
That is exactly it.
Okay, so how does NKE actually get around that Gödel problem?
By stepping into the dark, basically. It introduces this concept called ToE, which translates to temporary absolute truth.
Temporary absolute truth. That sounds, almost like an oxymoron.
It does, but instead of demanding rigid, perfect math on day one, it treats it like a court case. You gather circumstantial evidence, you build the best possible truth, and then you just constantly update it when contradictions pop up.
Okay, I can appreciate that flexibility. But, I have to push back on the starting point of all this.
Yeah.
Getting something from absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that is the biggest hurdle to wrap your head around.
Right, because you can't just, how do you cut a void in half without using magic?
Well, the framework introduces this engine called the Busfo process. It stands for binary, infinitely fast and fine, and omnipresent.
Okay.
So, picture perfect, absolute nothingness. The idea is that this virtual, infinitely thin crust is constantly dividing this nothingness into two parts.
So if I have, like, a totally blank digital canvas, pure white, and I draw an invisible, infinitely thin line down the middle, I haven't added any ink, right? But I've created a relationship, a left and right.
That is a brilliant way to picture it. You're dividing nothing to create a relationship. But in NTE, the separation is happening everywhere, infinitely fast.
It's just constantly dividing.
Right, and it's a tautological engine.
Yeah.
The instant you divide absolute nothing, those two halves desperately want to just snap back together to restore perfect nothingness.
But wait, if they snap back perfectly, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. The universe wouldn't exist. Why don't they just cancel out to zero?
Because of what physicists call symmetry breaking. The sheer speed and, the omnipresence of this process creates tension. The divisions actually interfere with each other.
So they get in their own way.
Exactly. Because of that self-interference, they can't recombine perfectly. They leave this tiny, tiny flaw.
So instead of a clean snap back to zero, you get, like, a wobble, a chaotic leftover vibration.
Yes. The framework calls these surviving wobbles orphaned resonances. Most of them cancel out, but some survive and stabilize. And that vibrating infinite mesh becomes the foundation of all reality.
Wow. So if we accept that, it changes, well, everything. If you're listening right now sitting in a chair, NKE says that chair isn't actually made of solid matter.
Not at all. In this universe, there are no fundamental solid particles, no tiny little spheres.
No pulling forces either, right?
Right. Even gravity isn't a pull. It's described as a drag effect, a Mitzi effect in German. It's just the self-interference of these vibrations dragging on each other in the mesh.
Which means that you, me, the listener, the 95 stable chemical elements, we are basically just incredibly stable resonance cocktails.
We really are. We're structured vibrations just furiously keeping ourselves alive against this chaotic background noise of a divided void.
We are just the universe's noise that figured out how to stabilize. Calling myself a resonance cocktail might honestly be my new favorite thing.
It's a great rebrand.
It really is. But what also strikes me is how Meyer published this. It's version 1.1. It reads almost like open source software.
Yeah, it's an open invitation. He wants other thinkers to step out of the traditional math light. and help build this road in the dark.
It leaves you with so much to chew on, especially his tease about future work on perfect chance.
Oh, yeah. The implications of that are wild.
Right. Because if the entire universe, down to the neurons firing in your brain right now as you listen to this, is just an infinitely fast, self-correcting vibration of nothing, does that make human consciousness the ultimate resonance cocktail?
Are thoughts just chaotic noise finally stabilizing into self-awareness?
Exactly. Is free will just a stabilized vibration?
Okay.
It's a deeply wild thought to carry with you today as you go about your incredibly complex, vibrating reality.